Well, Fox News has been showing fake transcripts to presidents. They're having debates about mental health, whether tactically delusions rot and involved with CBS with identity thefts and frauds. Fake conversations with me about the World Trade Center attack they had after the attack, which simultaneously recorded their collusions with the Saudi attackers interstates. And I don't know the rest of the Saudis involved with them. Also with Weathersfield Police Departments and retired Weathersfield police chiefs involved with 80 Carriage Hill Drive, involved with people they say is their cousins named Scalora. Also, some police that are refusing to identify themselves legitimately are confessed and recorded involved with the name Scalora. Also, with some sexual and medical offenders of kids that were forced by CBS. And these are people with Fox News. And next to Fox Connecticut News, with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his co-defendants and their family members, also involved with New Britain Superior Court, with a whole bunch of people with the FBI and Harper courts involved with also foreign and domestic military in West Hartford locations before the World Trade Center attack. A whole bunch of people tied to border states and border countries and families involved with differences racketeering. That's why and how they have our founders' communications replaced. And they have self-guided rules. They want to have nature debate. They want to pretend passions and emotions. And they want to use all the right to liberty and equal justice and all these nonsense when they're changing and faking what our founders communicated about James Madison's plan. So how could they interpret and value Marbury versus Madison correctly? Real justice must satisfy all appearances of real justice. The reason there are problems in New York City is because they have fakes speaking to, and they're forcing the leaders to be fakes too with them. The locations, areas, and states, and the federal agencies, and the difference of that. But they want to have nature debate that they can't defend that and afford to not change and fake what people say and self-value the collusions with names at and next to each of the campuses we went to. This is recorded. And for example, each of the next names next to each of the campuses I went to have collusions with names at the World Trade Center involved with the World Trade Center attack, as our country's rolls with a whole bunch of countries there, and names next to it, including the court next to it. Increasingly, courts interstates have roles with names on all sides of cases. The news at the same time, and the courts themselves putting fake things in their databases, sequence shifts, fake ties and fake natures of ties to people in the news at the same time, and with the World Trade Center attack. Increasingly, they have roles with the name Scalora too, and people with the name Keene tied to the name Keene and Demorrow, and neighbors of theirs, and people associated with them, with conversation with them, with an Oliveri family involved with the state judicial branch offices and with his educators, a whole bunch of people at Trinity College involved with the Joshua Striker, involved with some untimely deaths with people on my street, involved planting evidences at Trinity College, fake ties, fake natures of ties to me, lying about themselves with the FBI director and the girl that made confessions tied to Ray Cololo and Joe DeMauro and others involved there too. Joel sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm he has real federal evidence of his crimes with people involved with some body dumping spots that confessed and demonstrate him involved with it, with a former mayor Gold and people that went to my grammar school. He didn't even go to my grammar school. He's involved with people from other grammar schools, increasingly with a Mayor Gold's family, putting predicate acts with facts and databases, involved with Russians and people from Ukraine, involved with some sexual and medical offenders of kids. Their roles with fire departments. They better get the heck out of the nuclear business or whatever they're doing with these punks using the right to lie where they don't have the right to lie. Such ways, even with the news at the same time. You better get me off the fake conversations with WFSB News. Please get them off the fake conversations with me. Get them on paper with the interbranch forging and switching names, putting fake things in the databases. You're going to watch the FBI Director Robert Luskin is involved with predicate acts with the Britain Superior Court before and after the World Trade Center attack, and with Harper courts and their families and intimate ties, foreign and domestic military. There are increasingly people on the state corrections offices and the state judicial branch offices of Connecticut involve all kinds of natures of organized crime, criminally foreign influence, and tactically delusions rot uses of campuses. Also, tactically delusions rot. I noted. For example, it's evident right where we have black pupils, whites of eyes. it means to discern. You guys leaving that out, you're improper. By what nature is communicating. We don't even have to know, but you're all supposed to know clearer than day how James Madison's plan was to force the other founders counter-extorted, including George Washington. And 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 you guys don't even allow the extortion of George Washington to be anyone to be honest about it. Even other people, you guys won't allow it to be honest about the extortion of George Washington. You little fakes want to pretend you're patriots in natures too, A through Z. Then you have to want to have the nature debate about nonsense, knowledge of good and evil out of sequence. The forgiveness is because you guys are forcing, tricking, hurting to or persuading other things, others, ourselves, blamed right where nature itself and our founders communicated for us to blame the breaching method. You have some black KKK Confederate flag team down off the state judicial branch's offices involved too with the name Hunter involved. I don't know. It was a different person, but this is a person that used the name Hunter with the Hartford courts and the intelligence at Central Connecticut State University has a guy named Hunter involved also with spots associated with the lawyer of Robert Luskin, his co-defendants and their family members involved with some sexual and medical offenders of kids too with Hartford courts and the Britain Superior Court and Connecticut's District Court with a Brian Silver and some Judge Smith and a Judge Killian and other judges involved with some Leahy family members too, putting fake conversations and transcripts through the mail and into databases, fake ties, fake natures of ties to me. Rolls with too with the news with that. The news also fake conversations with me with them and with others. They have rules with some with a principal upskirt nature. They have more digital crimes with their kids involved too, with the interbranch kids involved with these medical families too, foreign and domestic, and next to the campuses, intercities. And they're planting evidences there with whiting forensics on Facebook pages of the campuses with child offenders, including with the judicial branch office, corrections office, increasingly involved with it, and their roles with all these other countries. You know, they have audacity, the people attacking the presidents and the presidents. And the difference of that is exploited. See the difference between president and chief. See, you can't explain the Monroe Doctrine if you can't explain James Madison's plan and why and how he didn't have free speech still, even as a president too. And he came, him and the founders behind him, plural, were who counted extorted George Washington. You guys need to allow people to have free speech and get me off the fake conversations with the news, right through administrations. You got more people with Central Connecticut State University in New Britain, Connecticut, involved with now with Secret Service people too, right through administrations involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and these courts with their family members, and the campuses putting predicate acts with facts there. A whole bunch of people at Trinity College and Central Connecticut State University, also with the intelligence next to them through time. And a whole bunch of other countries with the ones involved with the extended family members of the judges involved, like a Delafair family, a whole bunch of people with Delafair intercities involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders with extended family members are the ones of the intelligence families near me. I never saw Delafair in my life here, and they weren't even in my class. I never saw them around schools. They're involved with the educators at the schools too, putting fake things in databases in their sexual circles. There were also other people involved with other probate court judges involved with elderly homes, elderly locked in there, veterans' homes, and all the narratives of A through Z, all kinds of scams with the people with the state judicial branch and corrections office, just with Hartford Hospital with them. The ones and houses and businesses next to it involved with the names there, with all kinds of scams. Just a few dozen people involved with more scams than there are cities in Wethersfield and Hartford together. Just throughout the state, they owe more money than our whole. They owe a portion of the whole debt we can fix here with all kinds of scams with and delusions too, right? With psychiatry experts, the mental health experts. They're pretending things are debatable, but that are not. And they're getting away with it by increasingly putting fake things in databases and with sexual and medical offenders of kids with the people with only spots allowed to counter. Has something to do with their roles with the names Colo, 80 Hill Drive, and people tied to them with the Smith name in the Hartford Hospital. A bunch of people at Hartford Hospital involved here with retired police chiefs and refusing to get on paper with the courts too, putting fake things in databases with the police and courts since I was a kid. And they're refusing to they put me on fake conversations at the police station when I was a kid, at Wethersfield Police Station. I was an adult too, with these Mendez police, also increasingly involved with the names. With the World Trade Center attack in intercities, New Britain Superior Court with sexual and medical offenders of kids, involved with Wethersfield Police